Hi friends, this is Chris Beckman, the corporate chaplain for Ebenezer. And during this time of all this upheaval, we've been seeking ways to reach out to our communities and provide support. Every Sunday morning we're producing a worship service geared especially for our Ebenezer family that is premiering at 8 o'clock on Sunday mornings. And along with that, we're doing some of these reflections and meditations that are coming out on Mondays and Wednesdays and Fridays. And we're hoping you're enjoying them and finding them beneficial during this time. Today's installment is number 15, and I'm calling it Lessons from a Lilac Bush. I don't know about you, but lilac flowers are one of the most powerful things in my childhood memory. In my home out in Watertown, west of the Twin Cities, we had this huge lilac bush, really a hedge. And it was quite the bush. You couldn't do anything to destroy it. And if you ever lost a baseball in it, you know what kind of an effort it was to try to get in there and find it, because lilacs are durable and sturdy and hardy. And when you stick your arm in there, you're often going to come out scratched. Which is so amazing, because once a year, one time in this glorious moment, the lilac would bloom. And there would be this incredible burst of light and flower and color and the smell. And for a teenage boy to pause and to recognize something so beautiful that had the most wonderful smell is a miracle in and of itself. So whenever I see lilacs, I'm always bewildered and wondered, and it takes me back to that moment and place. My mom, out in Watertown still, lives in a building not too unlike many of our assisted living and HUD buildings during our Ebenezer sites. And the other day she went to a friend's, she was providing some help, and she got a cutting from a lilac bush. And my mom brought that lilac branch home and put it in a big vase of water and then put it in the entryway near the elevator. Some of you may know that during this springtime, a lot of us will cut things, branches and bushes, and put them in water and try to force them to bloom or blossom. When I was in my last church, every year during Lent, we would bring in pussy willow branches or forsythia branches, and we would put them in a large bucket filled with sand and water, and we would put them in front of the church, and the warmth would eventually warm up the soil and the water, and it would warm up those forsythia bushes and those branches from the pussy willows. And if we were lucky, by Easter, they would start to turn green. And if we were really, really lucky, we would even get the yellow blossoms that denote the beautiful forsythia bush. So my mom was trying it with lilacs. And the side benefit is that everybody in her building is now on lilac watch. And they go by it every day and they look to see, has there been any new growth? Is there green coming out? Are there buds that are going to be there? And every day they faithfully go by it and stop and look and wonder. Now, those of you who know lilacs know that the chances that that branch is going to bud and turn into flowers is almost zero. And any of you who have ever brought in a lilac flower know that it's almost pointless, because while the lilac is gorgeous outside and produces the most wonderful perfume, when you bring it in, it almost always dies within a very short time. It's one of the mysteries of why are they so hardy outside, and as soon as you bring it in, they die. The point, though, is not that this branch is going to bloom or blossom, but that it's going to grow a little bit by bit. And maybe during this time of COVID, when we're looking for miracles and great changes, and things that are a sea change, maybe instead we ought to focus on the lilac branch and the little bit of green that comes out every day The day-by-day moment as we go by something and see the changes and the wonder. I, for one, am at least happy that all of this is happening as springtime is about to burst, because it allows us to watch and to wonder and to experience moment by moment as the days get warmer and the grass starts to change and the flowers start to bloom and the wonder of all of nature starts to happen around us. Because you see, friend, we need that. We need this moment by moment, day by day wonder all around us. It's how we're going to get through this. And if you have a lilac branch in your house, or you see the forsythia outside your window, or you see the grass start to change. In one of the churches that I served, usually kids would get confirmed in the spring, usually around Pentecost, which is in May. And every year around this time, we would buy wheat berries, so wheat blossoms, and we would plant them. And we would water them and kind of create sort of a geranium for them. And a terrarium, sorry. And by the time that they were getting confirmed, the grass would be up. And often then we would plant it. And then later in the year, when it turned to wheat, we would take those wheat berries, the gift from these young confirmands, and we would grind it into flour to make for a communion gift for the entire community. You see, friends, I don't know about you, but I'm probably not going to come up with the solution for COVID. I'm not going to come up with the test that's going to discover the antibodies so that we can begin testing everyone. I'm not going to come up with some radical, miraculous change that is going to allow this world to be a better place. But day by day, moment by moment, you see, friends, a lot of our life of faith is not Moses coming down off the mountains. It's not Jesus appearing to the disciples that we keep hearing about in our stories. It's a lilac branch, buried in water, being nourished and sustained. And as it slowly warms, we begin to bud and to branch out. Most of our life of faith, dear people, is not these grand moments on the mountain, but it's the day-by-day wonder and awe that we find in every part of life. So if a miracle happens during this time, and the University of Minnesota comes up with the antibody test, I'll be the first to rejoice. But I know it won't be me, because I'm going to be living in a different world that is moment by moment and day by day. If we were going to add music to this particular meditation, we ought to sing Day by Day, that wonderful meditational hymn. May you find ways to slow down, to notice the things around you, and to realize and acknowledge that our faith is not usually this overwhelming change, but a moment by moment, day by day, wonder and awe. Best of luck to you, dear friends, and I hope things are going well for you in this time. Thanks for listening. Bye now.